I cannot wait to show you some of the features in this model home right behind me, including the beautiful backyard. But today we are in one of Jacksonville's newest and hottest communities, and we're going to go over just why it's so popular and really just why people are choosing to move and live here in Jacksonville. So let's get into it right now. All right, let's get this walkthrough started. So as we come up, you're going to see here that the builder on this one did a nice pavered front walkway. That is something that you typically will be able to do with the builder. Now, it may normally be an upgrade, so if you want to know if on this home it was an upgrade or if it was a standard, reach out to me with a call, a text, an email so I can go over all that with you. And it also, as we come in, you are going to notice here that they did do some nice hardy board siding, which is typical here in Northeast Florida, but they also did do some nice brick elements as well to kind of break up that hardy board. And they did a nice wood inlay for the ceiling as we come into the home that matches our nice 9-foot front door. 8-foot front door. So as we come into the home, you're gonna notice right away, it's light, it's bright, there's tons of natural light. We have a half bath right away. So that way, when you have guests over, they have that downstairs bathroom to be able to use. They don't have to go upstairs, they don't have to go into your primary, because all the bedrooms will be upstairs besides the primary with this floor plan. In addition, we have our nice, solid window here, which does give us that natural light. And it's gonna bring us into the rest of the home as well. As we come into the rest of the home though, the first thing you're gonna see is this beautiful kitchen. A couple highlights I wanna mention with this kitchen is, first of all, they started it off with some nice vinyl plank or laminate flooring in that wood look. And the reason I say vinyl plank or laminate is because in today's world, laminate has come a long way. And so in general, it is almost as highly sought after as vinyl is. And that's because it's become so much more durable. It has a great feel to it as well. But besides that, in the kitchen, they give us a really nice size island. They did a really dark quartz countertop, really thick quartz too. So really becomes a big highlight for when people come into this space. It's something that you could do too if it's something that you want in your house. Because again, this is a model. It's not exactly how the base home will be, but for a little bit more, you could have your house looking just like this as well. Then we have our nice big deep farm sink here. And the farm sink is also black, so it kind of blends in a little bit with the countertops. It's kind of a little bit of a black on black effect. They did more of a black hardware for the most part. We have our black, farm style sink, and we have our black countertops for the island. I'd love to know your thoughts. Oh, and also black cabinets, let's not forget about that. So I'd love to know your thoughts as we're walking through this video. If you see anything you like or don't like, soft close cabinets as well, let me know, because I love to always know your thoughts. Because in my opinion, it is a lot of black and it's very specific to who may or may not like it. In addition, all the appliances are also in a more of a black stainless steel. But what they did do to kind of break up some of the black is on our exterior, the cabinets on our exterior wall are gonna all be more of your typical brown, which in my opinion, the brown with the black countertops really highlight and accentuate the space. So it really creates a much more of a pop effect for people when they are living in the home or when they're visiting, and it really makes the whole kitchen stand out across the board. In addition, we do have our 6-burner gas stovetop, and this community is a gas community, which you may hear me say that a lot on this channel. And the reason for that is because I always like to reference it, as not every community here in Northeast Florida and Jacksonville is going to be a gas community. Now, this is the newest and hottest community that is in development here in the Jacksonville area. So if you want to know where we're at today, stay tuned, because we will go over that, as well as the floor plan and also the pricing of a home just like this and the incentives that they're offering for this builder. But in general, I like to always bring it up because it's not always a standard to have that gas. In addition, we have a nice backsplash that kind of ties in with the cabinets and countertops. We have the vented hood, so it's that more gourmet style kitchen. So overall, it just is a great effect. And they even include some pullouts on each side here. So you have an ability to really maximize your storage space as well, for there and also for over here. So this could be your little coffee station if you want that as well. Fridge is a really nice, good size counter depth. Actually might be more of a standard depth fridge, but in general, gives you ton to work with. And then we come to our laundry room, and keep in mind, over here to my right is actually what your entrance would be for your garage. Now, the builder on this one, which is a local builder who does an amazing job with their homes, is using the garage as their sales center. So for right now, there's no door there. Eventually, when they sell this model, they obviously put a door in there to give you access to your garage. But then we get to our laundry room, and again, they continue a lot of the same cabinetry as what we saw in the kitchen. I do love the fact that we do have a nice sink in here, plenty of countertop space to work with in here as well. So you get tons of storage and tons of usable space. Again, a sink's not always going to be something that you're going to find on every floor plan. So if that's something that's important to you, reach out to me so we can go over which floor plans give you that. Then we have our side-by-side washer dryer, which the dryer will have electric ability and also will have a gas ability typically. So that is a nice benefit as well, depending on what kind of appliance you want for that space. So overall, just a great flow so far, as it then takes us into our dining and our living room. So next, as we continue through, we have our dining room. Now this layout is a very open layout. So because of that, we don't have a true designated dining room space. It's gonna be right off of our kitchen. But what I do love about it is, as you can see here pictured, it is a 6-seater table, and you still have tons of space around it to walk around. And so ultimately, sometimes you feel like it can be a little too claustrophobic, too tight, but you don't get that with this space. And having that 6-seater table really kind of highlights and shows you that. And then it takes us to our living room. Now this is where I really think that this has one of those pops, one of those wow factors, is when you get into this living room space, the builder on this, and this is an upgrade, but it's an upgrade that you should always, in my opinion, do with this floor plan, unless you just don't like the cathedral ceilings, is doing those cathedral ceilings. Because doing that gives you more ceiling height, it makes the space feel bigger. You go from 10-foot ceilings to a much higher pitch ceiling. And also, if you like these wood beams, which I personally do, it gives you that ability to do the wood beams across and down the line as it takes us to our backyard, which we will get to in just a moment, so bear with me for that. But besides that, it is a great size layout. It's a space where you could have multiple couches. In this case, I designed it with more of a, more of a just one singular sectional couch. And so overall, it doesn't feel small, it doesn't feel tight. And even with having the kitchen and the dining all kind of together in this open floor plan, everything just still plays together super nicely. So I personally love seeing stuff like that. And again, Play Natural Light too. I personally love seeing stuff like that from a builder because it really does help maximize the floor plan and the layout for you as a buyer or consumer. Now the next part of the house we're going to is that downstairs primary, like I just mentioned. Now the downstairs primary, again, just like our living room, they were able to do the vaulted ceiling in here with that wood beam. Again, that is going to be an upgrade with the builder. And if you want to know which parts of this home, whether if it was structural items like the cathedral ceiling, or maybe design items like the thicker countertops in the kitchen, reach out to me with a call, a text, an email, and I'll go over all that with you. And we can always price it out too to see what may make sense to do with the builder from a structural standpoint, what may make sense to do after the fact from maybe like a design center standpoint. Because I'm all about getting you the best house possible, but also at the best price possible. As you can see here, this living room is this primary bedroom is a great size. We have not one, not two, but 3 windows off the back. So you get tons of natural light coming in. Having the primary off the back of the house also gives you a ton of privacy, being furthest away from the street. So there's a lot of positives there that really help maximize this primary bedroom as well. Then it takes us to our primary bath. In this primary bath, again, you may think when you're coming through this house, maybe it's a little bit too small for some people, but this kind of shows you that they really can, this specific builder can really maximize the look and feel. And in this case, you do get, his or her countertops, vanities, tons of cabinet space as well. You could always make this more cabinet space if you wanted to, but I do love the different hardware and different color choices they have here. So you have more of those white quartz countertops with a little bit of movement in it. They do give us some gold hardware with the sink, but then we go back to that black hardware to kind of match the cabinets hardware that are in the kitchen. We also got our nice big deep soaker tub. And then the shower, it is a lot of darker colors, which some people may not love. Some people watching this may love. Again, that's why I want to know your thoughts in the comment section on what you like or don't like. But what I do love about this shower is, again, they did the tile up to the ceiling. I actually like the subway tile pattern they used and how they did that in a herringbone design. And in addition, it's a step down coming in with the seamless glass. So having that step down here keeps all the water in, which is super important in my opinion, because it keeps the floor outside from getting too wet or slick. We still get our little niche in there for our toiletries, and we even get a little bit of a seat there, so if you need to sit down for a second, you always could as well. Then they continue the hardware in there to match our hardware for our vanities. So it's that nice, really popular currently, gold hardware. We have our water closet there, and then it takes us into our primary closet, which is actually a really good size, and there's a reason for that. Obviously, they did custom cabinets in here, and I say that obviously because a lot of builders do that. Keep in mind, if you're watching, this is not going to be something they're going to do standard. Standard's going to typically be wire racks, but this is something that you could do with or without the builder if you desired. But what really makes it really convenient is because of the fact that it's underneath the stairwell, we actually do get some additional storage back in here. So again, if you need a place to be able to store your luggage, there's tons of room back in here to do that without having to take up space in the rest of your closet. So really a great way of maximizing the space. And I love when builders utilize every inch of a home when it comes to that layout. So next, as we continue through, is going to be going upstairs, check out those bedrooms upstairs. But before we go up there, I do just want to highlight that I love the fact that the builder actually tucked the stairwell in over here. So it's not necessarily in the way of the rest of the house. You almost don't even notice it till you come into the living room. And again, they did a great job of doing the wood treads going up to match the wood floors or wood look floors down below. And there is still a section here that is open, so they did do that with the metal, the wrought iron, for part of it. So that way it's just not straight drywall all the way up. But let's go upstairs now and check out what upstairs has to offer. All right, so now we're upstairs, and the first thing I want to highlight is actually this beautiful loft. Sometimes you wonder, how can the space be maximized and utilized, especially when I was just mentioning how this builder definitely did that. And this is one way to do that. You come up your stairs, you have this beautiful loft up here that can be great for family, it can be great for kids, to where the downstairs can be more for the adults, upstairs can be more for the kids to invite their friends over to hang out, make it a game room, make it wherever you may want it. But it definitely gives, gives your kids, their own space, so to speak. In addition, I do like the natural light they have here. The color choice of being more that, darker green is definitely a very modern look we're seeing a lot more nowadays. And it's kind of nice to go a little bit away from the beachiness sometimes to have more of those distinct color palettes with some of these model homes and these floor plans. Then it's gonna take us to our first bedroom. And I do just wanna highlight, before we really talk about the bedroom, this builder specifically, one of the things that they do that's different than others is they actually do spray foam up in their attic. And because of that, the attic space that you just saw is a space that you can use for storage. It's how you get access to your AC, but also, it stays very climate controlled despite not having, AC pumping into there. So it does become a lot more of a usable space, and you don't always get that across the board with every builder. So I do love that. In addition, we do have our first bedroom, which is a great size. I mean, it's a really good size to have 2 nightstands, a dresser, a full-size bed. I mean, really does maximize the space. You could do a queen bed here. You could do even a king bed and you still would have some space. So I do love to see that as well because it gives you options of what you can do. We also get a walk-in closet here, which is never a bad thing. You can never have too much storage. And another thing I hadn't highlighted yet, but the ceilings up here are still gonna be 10 feet. So these 10-foot ceilings make a huge difference just to be able to, and they actually could be 9 foot, but regardless, they make a huge difference as far as how open and convenient the space feels. So it definitely is something that I love to see because not every builder does that. Sometimes you go upstairs and it's 8-foot ceilings and it can feel a little claustrophobic. Now we're in the second bedroom, and this bedroom may seem odd to you. And the reason for that is, why is the ceiling open, Justin? It's a great question. And again, why is there a chocolate bunny up there? Well, what I can tell you is this builder specifically, because of the fact that they do spray foam insulation in all their attics as a standard with all their homes, they like to highlight that and show that off in their model homes. So this model, they do that by actually putting a chocolate bunny up there. And it just shows that that bunny will be up there, believe it or not, for a couple of years, and it never is gonna melt because of how cool the attic space actually ends up being. And again, they have their little chocolate bunny there to kind of show what they do. But with the space, a little bit smaller than the first bedroom we were in, definitely doesn't have as much of a size to it. We do still get our walk-in closet though, which is a great feature to have. So again, to have that in every bedroom never hurts. But a funny story too with the chocolate bunny, I actually had a client who sold their home a couple years ago, and they had bought it from this builder, and it was the model originally. So when they bought it, the chocolate bunny was still up there. They had lived there for about 4 or 5 years, and when they eventually sold it, they still went up in the attic, and that chocolate bunny was still the same way it was, the way that one looks, to that day. So it just goes to show how convenient the space was in regards to keeping things climate controlled. So a little long-winded on that, but I just think it's a really cool feature we don't see very often here in Northeast Florida or Jacksonville. But now it takes us to our first bathroom upstairs. So this bathroom, you do get the double vanity. You do get the same cabinets and fixtures that we saw downstairs. Countertop's a little bit more of your standard white. And then as far as the shower, it's a shower tub combo. And they did almost like a checkered pattern here with the almost beigey white and the green to kind of match the green out there. I think it's kind of a cool thing. It's different. They did go up to the ceiling with it as well, which is what we like to see. And you still get your little niche there for your soaps and shampoos and stuff. So in general, it's a really good sized space across the board. And again, if you don't necessarily like those finishes, you could choose other finishes too for your shower enclosure. That's the cool part is, you can build from the ground up with a builder like this, or you could actually just buy when they're quick move-ins if you don't have the time to wait. So I do like that aspect when the builder kind of gives you different options there. Then we wrap it up here with our last bedroom. So this bedroom has great natural light, having the fact that we do have the windows right here on the front of the house. Again, still good ceiling height. This room is about the same size as the last room. So that first bedroom was gonna be your biggest bedroom of the three. Maybe the favorite kid gets that one, joking. But with this room, we do have one nightstand. We have a full-size bed up here as well. And we have a desk to kind of show how you can utilize the space or structure the space in a sense. We also have a walk-in closet for this one as well. The only difference with this one is we do have a window in it, so you get some natural light in there, which is nice. And then what's really cool with this one is you actually have almost like a mother-in-law kind of setup where it has its own shower in here as well. So this shower is really cool. It's the seamless glass. I really like some of the tile pattern they did because it's very unique and different. But also with this, as we come in and look at it, it's a true walk-in shower. I have that ability here just to be able to walk right in, which on the second story is not always possible. Sometimes you have a bit of a lip there, but the way the builder designed this is it's a true walk-in. You might get some water runoff because of it, so to keep that in mind. But in general, it is nice if you have someone who's older who doesn't want to have to step up or step down into the shower. And again, tile goes to the ceiling, so just a great way to kind of finish off the look as a whole. So I actually really like the finishes in this bathroom. Love to know your thoughts as well, if you like them or not. But in general, again, if you want to know this floor plan, this builder, where we're at today, just call, text, email me. But that being said, we're not done just yet. Let's now check out the backyard, because it's gonna have some features that you're not going to miss. All right, so starting outside, and again, as I already mentioned, I love this backyard for some of the features they have that, like I said, you're not going to miss. But starting off, what I do like that the builder did here is they did a really nice outdoor kitchen. So we do have our gas grill, we have our mini fridge, we have our trash. We even have a storage chest here, so if you want to put some ice in here, get some drinks cold for when guests come over, super easy to do. Got some storage down below as well. And again, I like that they kind of continued the countertop color to match the kitchen. So there's always a thought process on how you do things that builders think about, and I love when builders kind of think ahead like that to make sure there's some uniformity with what they do. In addition, we have a really great size back porch. This back porch also, because of the fact that the inside was upgraded to do the vaulted ceiling, this specific floor plan lets you also do the vaulted ceiling if you want it in your back porch or patio. I think it's a really cool feature. It's not something that you see very often across the board. And again, it just creates more ceiling height, makes things feel much more open, allowed us to have more windows to allow natural light in. And then it gives us an even better view as we come out to our backyard, and in this case, to our beautiful pool. And keep in mind too, you could always screen this in if you wanted to. They just chose not to be able to kind of highlight what's outside of it, which is, like I said, the pool in this case. But with this pool was done by Tier 1 Pools, which a lot of the builders here are gonna use. And it has a hot tub section over here with the pool on the other side, with also a waterfall effect to kind of break up some of the outside noise and give you more sound privacy when you're living in a house just like this. So that gives you an idea of what you could do if you wanted to, customize your home to look like this as well. Then off the back here, we have a beautiful fire pit area. Now this can be a gas fire pit just because, again, we already have the gas hookup. Tons of space here to be able to entertain friends and family. Just a really good use of the space, and the tile is very sleek and modern and just really accentuates the space, really makes it feel very high end. And again, not every lot's gonna give you the ability to have the lake behind, but some will, whether it's lake or preserve, and it's always a cool feature to have because it just gives you more privacy as well. So, I mean, just amazing features throughout this floor plan, a lot of things that I absolutely love about it myself. But now we're gonna dive into what this floor plan is called, who the builder is of this floor plan, and what neighborhood we're in today, because again, this is the hottest and the newest neighborhood here in Jacksonville, Florida. So I'm gonna explain all that as well as why it's so hot right now. All right, so that's gonna wrap up the walkthrough of this beautiful model home. But overall, again, let me know what you think about it. I love to know your thoughts, what you liked, what you didn't like. For me personally, if it was me, I know I'd be spending a lot of time outside in that pool. I mean, it's just beautiful. And with the weather we have right now, to have a home with a pool, you can't go wrong. In addition, I do love the vaulted ceilings here in the living room as well as in the primary. That's something that I would highly always suggest if you ever were to build or buy this floor plan to try to get with this builder, if it's able to be done as a structural upgrade. But overall, right now we are sitting in the Mariposa neighborhood in the Everrange master plan community. And Everrange is that newest and hottest community here in the Jacksonville, Florida area. It's conveniently located right here off of US 1, and it's still in Duval County. So again, if you do work in Duval County, if you work downtown, or if you work down near the town center, I mean, you're not that far away to be able to hop on the highway and get to work every day. But this community is being developed by the Park Group, who is very well known around the Northeast Florida area, as they were the developers of Nocatee, and they were also the developers of E-Town, which were two other master plan communities that people absolutely love. And especially when it comes to Nocatee, people throughout the whole country tend to want to move to due to the amazing schools in St. Johns County with the public school system they have there. But here in Everrange, it is in Duval County, so a couple of differences there that if you ever want to know more about, I can go into more depth with. And all you have to do is call, text, email me. But this floor plan we're at today, this is actually the Cypress floor plan. And this Cypress floor plan is built by a local builder here, and the builder is Providence Homes. Now, Providence Homes does a great job with a lot of different items they do as standard, such as the spray foam insulation. And that's something that you don't always think about until you end up, finding a home with spray foam insulation. A lot of times, once you've seen it, once you've had it, it's hard to go away from it. So I do see that happen quite a bit. But Providence is well known throughout the area for their quality, their attention to detail. And overall, they are a great builder to work with, with the build process. And here in Mariposa, they have 40-foot wide lots, and they also have 60-foot wide lots. So, they can provide different products depending on your budget and what you're looking for in a home from a size standpoint. Now, this one, the Cypress, this is only a 40-foot wide home site. And in my opinion, they did a great job of maximizing the layout, maximizing the size and everything they did with it, despite having that 40-foot wide limitation. So again, this is a 2398 square foot floor plan, so almost 2,400 square feet. You do get the 2-car garage, which we didn't highlight today because it is their sales center. But also with this one, the way that they did it, it's a 4-bedroom and 3.5 bath model home. Now, the base floor plan only has 2 full bathrooms and a half bath. So if you want that extra full bathroom, that is a structural upgrade, but it can be done. And then again, it gives you a lot to work with at an amazing price. Before we get into price and incentives, because again, I like to always go over what we're seeing currently. Again, keep in mind they're subject to change. Do keep in mind that, it's always a good idea to consult or to, look into working with a realtor before you go and meet with builders, because builders are always going to, and their site agents are always going to be more so looking out for, for them in a sense. Whereas with an agent, we do have that ability to kind of look out for what you're looking for. And we can talk with each individual builder differently to be able to get you the best price and best value, best incentives at that time. So overall, that's what we are here to help with. Besides that though, when it comes to price, this one, the base price of it starts at an amazing price if you ask me for a brand new location like this. And that base price is going to be around $572,940. So in essence, low 570s. But do keep in mind, those are always subject to change, and they will change. So what they are today may be different what they are a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. So if you want to know exactly what that pricing looks like right this second, don't hesitate to call, text, email me, or if you'd rather meet through Zoom or face-to-face, in the description of this video will be a link to my calendar, so that way you can schedule a time for us to meet face-to-face or through Zoom, depending on what you prefer. In addition, right this second, the builder Providence Homes is offering some pretty good incentives. So the way they're doing this is if you build from the ground up with them, because you're going to the design center as well, they are offering at this time roughly $50,000 to use, in essence, however you want to use it towards design center options, but also towards your closing cost. So for instance, I actually have one I'm working with right now with another buyer I'm working with, and that $50,000, that buyer was going to utilize part of it for their closing costs. So they had nothing out of pocket for their closing costs and prepaids, and the rest of it was going to be used towards the design center just to reduce the price down. So there's different things you can do there. And again, with Providence, that's a great incentive right this second. It does require you to use their preferred lender, but at the same time, the incentive, in my opinion, makes it worth it. So something to just kind of think about too when you work with a builder is, the incentives could make a huge difference. Now, those are going to change. So what they are today will definitely not be what they are a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. Doesn't mean it couldn't be, but generally it won't. So in general, if you want to know what those are, reach out to me. But also, if you want to see more amazing homes like this one in this beautiful Mariposa at Everrange community, there will be a link at the end of this video where you can actually click on it and check out some of the other amazing model homes. And there will be more coming up too, so stay tuned. And that's why it's so important to subscribe so you can see those future ones too. That being said, I'll talk to you guys more soon and we'll go from there.